I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the Cowboy Man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses because it would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the dirty. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
Hello. There she is. Welcome back to Paranormal Odyssey. I am your host, Wayne, joined as always by my partner in crime, Miss Tiffany. What's up, ma'am? Tell us all about your woes.
My woes, man, I'm telling you, it is, it's going to be fun because we're a team and we're a family and it's good. But my internet, y'all, it's a whole level of bullshit. I called them today and I said, look, I possibly have 4 shows this week. This is not acceptable. We pay you good money. And she said, well, it's nothing that you can do on your end. We have to send a tech out to your house. They'll be there between 8 and 10 in the morning. So my mic is useless. I'm currently on my phone, so I can't chat. I can chat, but it just makes me all funky before I turn my phone back sideways. It's just stupid. And then both the dogs started hollering. I'm like, really?
Yeah, it really is hard to run a show from a phone. I mean, guesting from a phone is fine. There's no problem there, but actually running a show with as much as Tiffany and I have to keep up with during a show from a phone, it's near impossible. So
yeah,
we are going to get through it. I guess that pretty much means tonight I'll have to try to keep up with the questions, which shouldn't be a problem. Tiffany, you are familiar with Mr. Dewey, or more so than I am. Mm-hmm. So we will let you run the show tonight, pretty much. And I will keep up with everything else and open my big mouth when I feel necessary.
All right. And if I freeze up, I don't know from this end that I have frozen or anything. So you got to pay attention to my I'm so teeny, y'all. I don't even know what I look like right now. So you got to keep up with my little box. Because I don't know unless it kicks me out that,
Yeah.
It's a struggle bus. I jumped on that Hot Mess Express and just rode it hard, apparently.
Like you said, though, we will get through it.
Yeah.
We'll spend an hour talking to a cool guy and move on from here. They'll be there in the morning to fix the situation.
Yep.
We'll be good to go. Heads up real quick before I pay the bills. This Friday night, Tiffany and I are going to be a guest over on Buckeye Bigfoot. As soon as she sends me a link, Miss Nance over there, as soon as she sends me a link, I will share it with all of y'all. but we are going over there to announce all of the changes and the new era of the show. Miss Nance has been instrumental in getting this going. She's an awesome lady. If you are not following Buckeye Bigfoot, you are doing yourself a huge injustice. Please go check out her channel. She is amazing. She's great at what she does, and she's kind of helping us get going. And she's got like coming up on 90,000 subscribers over there. So she's bringing us on to announce our launch, and hopefully we'll get some of her people to come over here and grow this show. So this Friday, please come over, be supportive, show your love. You always do. Anytime where Tiffany or myself are on a show, y'all show up and you show out. And we just ask that you do that again this Friday. But yeah, I'll share the link as soon as I have it.
Very cool.
All right, moving on. Let's get these bills paid. If you're new to the show tonight, it's your first time hanging out with us, thank you very much. We ask that you please hit that subscribe button before you leave. If you've had an encounter that you would like to come on and be a guest with us on the show, we would love to talk to you about that. You can hit us up, either Wayne or Tiffany, at paranormalworldproductions.com. Paranormalworldproductions.com is our website. Guys, please head over there and check it out. Sign up for the Bigfoot newsletter. Check out all the other shows under the studio's umbrella. Pick you up some merch, all of that really, really cool stuff at paranormalworldproductions.com. And again, guys, as I mentioned just a moment ago, pretty much flying solo as far as the keeping up with everything tonight. So if you have a question, we welcome those. You know we always do. Please put those in all caps. It's going to help me see them and get to them and all that good stuff. Just please make sure you put those in all caps because it just sticks out. You know, it jumps out at you and you know, hey, there's a question. Need to highlight that. And then we'll get to it at the end of the show with our rapid fire Q&A. ManimalResearch.org is the website for my organization, the one I founded in 2019. If you believe you might be having some Bigfoot activity on your property and you need someone to come and check it out in the Southeast, especially, please hit us up. Go to ManimalResearch.org. You can sign the contact form and all that good stuff. We would love to be the ones that you trust to come out and check your property. And even if you're not in the Southeast, which is primarily, we're in several states down here. But if you're in the West Coast, the Northwest, I mean, you know, middle United States, anywhere, we have connections all over. We can get you in touch with someone that can take care of your issue. Also, if you would like to become a member of Manimal Research, I'd love to talk to you about that. Go to manimalresearch.org and you should be able to do every bit of that. All right. God, this is hard by yourself. I'm
sorry. But I mean, you're doing a good job. Yeah. I'm so proud of you.
I always do. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I really am. I'm good people.
I just need to buy you a cape.
I need a shirt that says "I'm with awesome" with the arrow pointed up. That's what I need. All right, guys. Our membership. If you would like to become a member of our channel, we would greatly appreciate that. It is $1.99 a month, just one tier. We don't have 10 different tiers asking for $100. It's a flat $1.99. You get extra content. You get early access to content. You get members only Discord, early notifications of things that are coming up. just all kinds of cool stuff. We have an amazing family here on this channel, and you guys are awesome. If you want to join, it's $1.99. Right beside the subscribe button, there should be a join. Please click that. We would love to have you join us as a member. Lastly, oh my God. If you notice at the bottom there, and this is why we split it up, so that one person don't have to do all of this crap.
Yo.
If you notice at the bottom, the Cash App and the Venmo are open right now. You guys always help us out with super stickers. Seems like we already got one tonight. I'm sure Goonie Goo Goo's already hit us with one.
Okay.
But if you would rather help us out in another way, because there are a lot of fees that go into those super stickers, and we also have to wait a month to get that money. So if you would rather help us out right away, we would certainly appreciate it. The Cash App and the Venmo are at the bottom. We don't have to wait a month. We get it instantly, and we aren't hit with near the fees. So if you can help us out, because we all know everything costs money. Everything you're looking at tonight, we paid to bring you. So if you can help us out, we certainly appreciate it. All right. Good God, I'm going to shut up. Tiffany, tell everybody about who we got backstage.
The Deuster. And I just love him. He is so funny. I could sit in a room with him forever and just pick his brain because he's so smart. He has so much in here. But we had talked on the last show about bringing him back for a part 2 to talk about the what is it? The H word.
Hopkinsville
Goblins. Yes. For some reason, my brain didn't compute the word. So, and so this is what tonight's show is going to be about. And I'm excited to hear all about it. Why are you laughing at me?
Just because you're funny.
Oh, well, thanks.
That's it. All right, everybody, please give a warm welcome to and help us welcome Mr. Dewey Edwards. What's up, buddy?
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Thank you for coming back.
Glad to be back.
How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing fine. Doing fine.
Good deal. Good deal.
It'd be better if the weather would drop a little.
There you go. There you go. We didn't even talk about the weather. I'm in Southeast Tennessee, and it's supposed to be in the damn 30s tomorrow.
I know.
What is up with that?
I know. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was 88 here last week. And this morning it was 40 degrees colder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what is that? I put all my winter clothes away already. What are you doing?
I mean, there's flowers and everything like blooming around here. And we're going to get down into the low to mid 30s tomorrow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got flowers blooming everywhere, and I'm afraid that it's gonna kill them all. We get buttercups this time every year, but they usually freeze out before.
I think Mother Nature is high.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All the rain and tornadoes, and now it's going to be freezing cold. And
I think we've got some wacko that went up to Alaska and found this harp outfit, and he's playing around with it. That's what I'm think's going on with it. Need to find it.
Well, the last time you were on, Dewey, it was an awesome show. It was great, but toward the end we kind of got into the Hopkinsville Goblins, and that's something that's always been really interesting to me because it's not real far from where I live. It's like right on the Kentucky border, Kentucky-Tennessee line,
right?
And it's always been interesting to me. But you know quite a bit about this. You've written a book about it, and you're fairly, informed about it. If you want to tell us a little bit more, we would love to hear it.
Sure. Yeah, I did a lot of research on it. Most of them was old newspaper articles, things like that. Plus, Geraldine, she'd written a couple of books, Geraldine Sutton's Stith, And she sent me a couple of her books. And I did some, got work in them and had a lot of things in them that I found out I didn't know. And I've told her a few things she didn't know either that I've discovered. So we kind of swap information back and forth. But a lot of people call it the Hopkinsville Goblins, and I don't know why. It happened in Kelly, Kentucky, about 8 miles north of Hopkinsville. The only thing I know Hopkinsville was involved in this was that's where they went to get help. They went to the police station in Hopkinsville to get help. And unless they had some kind of a mutual aid or something, with the Christian County Sheriff's Department, the Hopkinsville police were out of their jurisdiction. So I don't know. It's kind of weird, but
Yeah, that is weird. That doesn't make any sense. So the actual home wasn't in Hopkinsville?
Oh no, it was 8 miles north. It's where Kelly is. And so it's
so Hopkinsville monster or goblin sounds better than Kelly goblins, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I guess it does. And people, I guess, can relate to you say Kelly. I say, where the hell is Kelly at? But you say Hoptown or Hopkinsville, and they know where it's at.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of a local thing, I guess. But my wife has people buried in Hopkinsville. We go up there pretty regular, and visit the cemetery and things like that. And that's where the great Edgar Casey is buried at too, in Hopkinsville. I've had a couple of. I did a lot of work in the some Civil War people too, and there's a couple of Civil War heroes buried up there too in the cemetery. In fact, one of them was killed in the main street in Hopkinsville. Of course, he got drunk and tried to go in and take the town, and his followers stayed behind, and the snipers picked him off real quick. But anyway, he's buried there in Hopkinsville too. But that's the only connection I can find between Kelly and Hopkinsville is just they went there for help. And
okay, so tell us about the actual event.
First, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, just go ahead and tell us about the actual event. I mean, what happened?
Get situated here. This chair's not sitting too comfortable tonight. It was August 21st of 1955.
Wow.
Lady lived there in Kelly. Her name was Glennie Mae, Glennie Mae Sutton. She had married again, and she was a Langford at this time. And she had 3 small children with her. And but by her previous marriage, she had Elmer, Joe, Frank, Violet, John, Charlie, and they were the ones involved with this encounter. Anyway, Elmer left home at an early age and he had some family troubles, I think, and he went to he moved up north. He went up north and went to work for a carnival, and he traveled all over the United States with a carnival, and so he wasn't home very often. If the carnival got close by home, he would stop, maybe take off a day or two and go visit his family, but had to go back to work, a day or two later. But August the 22nd, the carnival was in Evansville, Indiana, and he was close enough that he could drive down and see his family. Well, he didn't have a vehicle. He drove one of the carnival trucks as transportation, from town to town. He was a knife thrower, and he was also served as the barker for the carnival too. He met his wife working at the carnival. Her name was Vera. I have been trying to do some research and find out what her last name was, when they got married or where they got married, because I do a lot of genealogy work too. I'm big into genealogy.
Yeah.
But they've traveled all over the United States, so who knows where they could have gotten married if they ever did, But anyway, August the 22nd, Elmer and Vera came down with a couple of friends named Billy Ray Taylor and his wife June. They had a vehicle. They were actually based out of Pennsylvania, is where they lived, but they go around with the circuit with the carnival. So anyway, they came down that night and spent some time with the family. And of course, it was on a Saturday. Sunday morning, Glennie Mae got up and went to church. Took her children with her. I think Elmer and the other men went rabbit hunting, I think, that morning. But anyway, she come back that afternoon and she fixed a lunch for them. And they were sitting there eating the meal. then they excuse me a second. My throat's dry for some reason tonight.
Mhm.
But anyway, they fixed a meal, got through with it. And somebody brought out a deck of cards. They started playing cards around the kitchen table. And this is an old rustic house, it probably didn't have any running water inside or anything. And had outside toilet, outhouse. And the well was out back behind the house. So anyway, they were playing cards, and Billy Ray gets thirsty, and he goes over to the water bucket, and the water bucket is almost empty. So he takes it and goes to the well to draw a bucket of water. Well, while he's out there, he sees this, I'm going to call it a flying saucer, sees this flying saucer fly over, and it lands in the tree line back behind him. Well, he gets scared, goes back to the house, and tells the family what he had seen. Said it was glowing all kind of rainbow colors, and it had like these sparks coming out of the back of it, and it landed in the tree line. Well, he's in the house trying to tell the family what's going on, what he had seen. They didn't believe him, thought he was joking, and started trying to pull a joke on him. So anyway, all of a sudden the dogs outside get to making a commotion. So, excuse me, Elmer and John Charlie and Billy Ray go outside with their guns, and this little green man. It's not a green man. There's another story on that. This little man comes out with its hands in the air like it's surrendering. Comes walking up to him, and it's not really walking; it's floating about a foot off the ground. So they look at it, they fire a warning shot in the air, and this thing just keeps getting closer. So the next shot they fire, they shoot at it. It does a backflip and runs back into the woods. And so they go back into the house real quick. The dogs outside are up on the porch. They're whimpering, carrying on. They're terrified. And so they get back to the house and go in, and trying to tell the mothers what they had seen. And then somebody screamed, and they looked, and one of them was looking in the window at them. Of course, it's in August. It's hot. There's no air conditioning in the house. And they had the windows all up with just a screen, window screens separating them from the outside. So anyway, one of them grabs the shotgun and shoots at it through the window. Well, she just blows the window screen out and probably tears up the window frame all around it. And they go outside to look, and there's nothing there. They can't find the hide or hair of anything. So they, they go back in the house, and a few minutes, another one appears at another window. Well, they shoot at it. And they just keep, they've only seen like one or two at a time. So they're shooting at these things. And the kids are getting terrified. Somebody called them demons, and that terrified the kids. They put them in a back room and put them back there for them to be safe. June Taylor, Billy Ray's wife, she didn't want to see anything. She was deathly afraid. She went in the bedroom, buried her face down in the bed, and wouldn't look at anything. The kids were with her. So anyway, this goes on for probably about 3 hours maybe, or something like that. And they go, well, one of them goes outside, and one of these creatures reaches down and touches him on top of the head, with its claw, His wife drags him back inside the house. And anyway, they keep waiting, for what's going on. But anyway, they make a break for it. They look outside, the coast is clear. There's too many of them to get in one vehicle, so they jump in two vehicles. They jump in Billy Ray's car, and they jump in Glennie Mae's vehicle, and they go out for help. They run down to the Hopkinsville police station. Well, they finally convinced the guy at the desk what's going on. He thought they were joking, thought they were on drugs, or he was drunk or whatever, And they finally convinced him of what they seen was real, So he calls the police chief. Police chief comes down to the station, talks to him. And they decided maybe there's something going on, So some reports you read say that they accompanied the Suttons back to the farmhouse. They did not. the police department detained the whole Sutton family there at the station because they thought they were going to a crime scene. They thought the Suttons had shot one of their neighbors, had been a feud or something. They're responding to a crime scene. So they had the Sutton family stay there at the police department, and while they went and checked it out. Well, they finally get there, and they're assisted by, I think, a couple of officers from Christian County, and then they get there, and there's nothing. They don't find anything. There's no evidence at all. They found one little spot where there was some kind of glowing or a shimmering substance on the ground by the fence to where they had supposedly shot at one of them. There was also a green glow coming out of the woods, or the little section of the woods, that they passed it off as being foxfire. Any foxfire, I've seen that before. Foxfire glows orange like a fire. That's where it gets its name from, It's not green, so whatever was giving off this greenish glow, they just kind of passed it off. Anyway, they get there and they just mess up the whole investigation. They stomping over everything in the yard, and they can't find anything at all. So anyway, they call back to the police department and tell them to go ahead and release them to send them out there where they can kind of walk them through what happened, So they get out there, show them what took place was here, And the whole time they're there, they don't see anything, nothing at all, There were some theories going around that it was maybe just a big great horned owls, If you shoot an owl with a shotgun at close range, there's going to be feathers and guts.
Oh, yeah. It can be an explosion of feathers.
Exactly, a big explosion. And there was some theories said it was cats, house cats. Some of them said it was some monkeys that had escaped from a circus, And there was a circus close by. There was one in Springfield that weekend, where I live in Springfield. But I did the research on it and checked their schedule. In the newspaper articles, they did not go north to Kelly. They went south to Murfreesboro. So the circus with the monkeys did not go through there. But anyway, like I said, they fought these things for several hours. Went and got help. Come back. There's nothing was seen while the police were there. And then after the police leave about 2:00 that morning or something like that, the little men come back out. And they described them as being kind of a silverish gray color with big pointed ears, long skinny arms. Their feet are like suction cups, their eyes are big and yellow and glowing, and everybody the other people, the newspaper articles described them in different ways, Some said they were green, some said they were yellow, some said they were gray, The term little green men came from one of the newspaper reporters had told them that they put in his report that it was they were green. Instead of being gray, like the Suttons told them, they changed it to green men. I don't know if it was a mistake or if it was done on purpose or whatever. But all of the newspaper articles I found, every one of them made fun of them. They just ridiculed the whole family. They were calling them country bumpkins. They were drunks. They were on drugs. They did it for a profit,
Profit of what?
Exactly. They did try to charge admission one time after all this was over the next day, but that was the purpose of that was to try to keep people off of their property. The next morning after this happened, people were all over their yard. The yard was full of people camping out. They only had one outhouse out back, so you can imagine, how messy the yard was, when these people left and everything. They went into the Sutton's home and took anything they could find to pack off for souvenirs. It was ridiculous. I did find one newspaper article that actually showed them some respect, and they went out there with Miss Glennie, and she showed them the spot where this thing had landed. And I do have a picture of that Lucky Sutton's daughter give to me. And there's still, after all these years, there's still no vegetation on that spot at all. It's as bare as it can be.
That's
I would
wild.
love to go to that site and do a little investigation and maybe check it out with a Geiger counter, or something like that. Because something had to leak, or something. Like I said, there's several theories on that. I've come up with my own.
Okay.
And it makes about as much sense as the monkey or the owls, maybe even more sense than that. At the time, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is 20 miles away, they had built this site called the Bird Cage, and it was to house nuclear weapons. During that time, Fort Campbell had 2/3 of the nation's nuclear weapons on site. Three underground structures. One of them was to house the weapons in. One was to maintain them and to work on them. And the third one was a medical facility in case something happened down there. They could treat the people there, but they haven't get exposing everybody else. So anyway, my theory on this is, of course, what you always around nuclear sites, you've always see the UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking these little men were in their little spaceship, and they were either going to Fort Campbell or coming back from Fort Campbell on a reconnaissance mission to see what's going on. So anyway, somewhere en route, they developed some kind of trouble with their craft. It could have been maybe their cloaking, went out on it or whatever. But they had to land to make repairs. So they're flying over. They find their spot to land. And then when they land there, they realize that Billy Ray was standing out there and he saw them when he landed, So they send 2 of these little men. I don't know how many's in this craft. Some of them said up to 15. They call it a flying bathtub and everything else. But anyway, I think what they did, when they landed, saw Billy Ray had witnessed them landing. They sent 2 out to the house to keep the family busy, to keep them occupied while they make repairs on this craft. And then after the police got there, the little men were gone. They were actually there at the ship. The 2 that were being the distractors, they were actually back at the ship, maybe helping them repair it, maybe. So then when the Suttons came back, they sent the little men back out to keep them busy, until they got repairs made. I think the last time they saw one was something like 3:30 or 4 o'clock that morning, right before daylight. And then they didn't see him anymore. So sometime between that 3:30, 4 o'clock mark and daytime, they got their craft fixed and went to who knows where, But that's kind of my theory on it,
So there were actual gunshot, gun holes, bullet holes in the property and everything, or what?
Yeah, the sheriff's department, the police department, the chief was with them. They didn't make note of several of the windows had the screens blown out of them,
So they think these people just did that for the hell of it.
Yeah. And this was and I thought Miss Glennie owned the property. She did, and her husband were sharecroppers. And this guy that owned the property, he's gonna make them fix his house back,
Mm-hmm.
They shot the windows out or whatever, So they didn't. There's no way they could make any money off that having to repair the house afterwards,
No,
There's no way. So, but they, it got pretty bad. Traffic got so bad there the next day that they had to get the state troopers out there to direct traffic just around the property. This is a little narrow 2-lane road going by the house, and it's just traffic is a nightmare,
I mean it made national news, right?
Yeah. But I've been I don't know how close I was to it. I went up to the little park they had at Kelly 3 or 4 years ago, and they had a little model of a little spaceship built out there in the field. And since then they have sold it and scrapped it out, and it's gone. And I hate they did that. I wish I'd like to have it. I'd have tore it down and moved it myself and if I'd known that. I've been wanting to take me a couple of
Try to get running again, huh?
yeah. Take me a couple of big satellite dishes and make me a flying saucer, to paint it silver and put out in the yard, put some flashing lights on it, maybe, just something, a tourist attraction, I might make money off it too. You can't ever tell.
It would definitely be a conversation starter. But you know what's so funny is, and it's the same way with anything, whether it's UFO or cryptid, people will say all the time, well, you're crazy. They don't exist. They're such and such, or they're such and such. But yet it draws so many people to this place. But if they don't exist, quote unquote, why are you tearing up my property?
Right, exactly. The last eclipse we had, what was that, 20?
Wasn't too long ago.
Wasn't too long ago at all. That happened on August 21st.
2019, 2020, something like that.
Something like that, 2020, 2021, yeah, something like that. 2020 maybe. But it was on the anniversary of the little green man encounter on August 21st.
Wow.
And the odd part about it is Kelly, Kentucky had the longest totality in the whole thing, so they had the most darkness, during this, so right in the middle of the path of the eclipse.
Wow.
I thought that was kind of odd too,
Yeah.
I think they were halfway expecting maybe the little green men would come back.
Maybe that's what drew them in to begin with.
It could have been.
Maybe there's something with that area.
Yeah. I remember that eclipse. That was really freaking cool. I haven't experienced anything like that ever.
I haven't either.
It was the middle of the day, like bright outside, and within just a matter of seconds, it was dark.
Yeah.
Like pitch black almost. That was really freaking cool.
Yeah, we had people pull up I've got 2 acres up on the hillside above me. And we had people pull up and wanting to watch it, from our field up there, I said, sure, go right ahead, drive up there if you want to, So they parked there in their driveway and they got out and was walking up there. And I said, you didn't bring any chairs or anything with you? No, we just out wanted to see this. I said, grab a couple of my lawn chairs over here and take them with you, and I got some Cokes and a cooler here if you want some to carry through with you too, But there was 2 or 3 cars that stopped by and watched it from here. And it was neat. It was really neat.
That's awesome. That is so cool. So let me ask you this, because you had brought it up at the beginning that in your theory that the cloaking had come off. And you always hear of, the abductions and stuff like that, but people really don't see anything. Do you think that's why?
It's very possible. Yes, like I said, I think that's what happened. They weren't seen anywhere between Fort Campbell and Kelly. There was no reports of anything being seen, even though it was during the peak meteor shower period that this occurred too, And I think they
Yeah, well, let me pull this up real quick because Troy got me confused here. The last lunar eclipse was May 13th or 14th, 2025.
No, it was the one before that.
Buddy, that ain't happened yet.
We're in April.
I'll give you the exact
how much wild turkey you had tonight, buddy?
We love you, Troy.
He knows I do.
He may have meant to hit 2024 and type 5.
Or 2020.
Something like that.
It was 2017.
17. Okay.
That'll be true in my book.
Yeah. Actually, that's longer than I thought.
It was on the 62nd anniversary of the little green men encounter. or the Hopkinsville Goblin Encounter, whichever people prefer to call it. I'm
So
gonna
is
stay with
anything
Kelly.
has anything been seen in that area since or reported that you found?
Not that I have found. Not that I had found. At the same time, there was a sighting, but it wasn't the same time. It was a little after that. The sighting out in New Mexico, Zambora. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy that, yeah, I got it right here. Socorro. No, it was close
Socorro.
to it. Socorro. And that was that. There was two people seen, two beings seen outside that, and the Kelly were one of the close encounters. That compared them. There was a school out somewhere that was doing a research on it, and the Kelly and the Socorro incident, where they used them in their textbook for training. But it was and did you know that a lot of people don't know this? When Steven Spielberg was working on his movies,
Mm-hmm.
the little green men played an important part, and in fact, he based his movie E.T. off of that.
Really?
Close Encounters of the Third Kind was another one that was kind of fed off of that.
Off of The Encounter?
Yeah. His Spielberg's original book was going to be called Dark Skies,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of dropped that, and then went to work on look at something else, and then that's when he got run up on this the little Kelly encounter, and then that was the basis for E.T.
The Hopkinsville Goblins was the basis for E.T.
What?
You saying the Hopkinsville Goblins was the basis for E.T.?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is
They show them the movie E.T. During the festival. They have a show of it.
Well, I'll be.
And I have,
that is fascinating. I never knew it.
of course, that
I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Hopkinsville is pretty close to the 37th parallel, and that's the most. You see most of your UFOs along the 37th parallel for some reason.
I'm not as familiar with the 37th parallel as I am the 36th.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
I may have. The Springfield, we're along the North 37th. Okay. 37th is noted for its high strangeness and UFO.
What is
sightings.
the 37th parallel, Dewey?
The 37th parallel, according to my map I've got in here, is right along the Kentucky and Tennessee state line.
Hmm.
It runs from San Francisco to New York.
San Francisco to New York. What? That's a
That's a
long ass way.
Yeah, it goes all the way around. It goes all the way around the Earth. 37th parallel.
Wow.
I'm learning so much, Dewey.
Yeah. If you've got one of those globes where they say it's the Earth,
Mm-hmm.
not the flat one.
No, I actually have one of those globes.
Yeah, the parallel lines around it. The 37th is. But anyway, I was going to show you a picture. This is if I can get in there. This is what's left of the
That's
ET
E.T.
robot
That's E.T.
that
right
was
there.
used in the movie. That's all that's left of him.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor E.T. He should have phoned home sooner.
Yeah, I wish they could have rebuilt him.
Apparently, Brian's not a flat earther. That's good to know, buddy.
That is actually what they said. The top picture, see it, is what they said the little green men look like.
Yeah, I've seen that so many times.
The bottom one is a Pokemon character that was drafted off of that too. So
Wow.
that Pokemon, I've got the name of it. I have to look it up. The Pokemon was which one was it called? Sable Eye.
Oh,
Sable Eye was actually developed off of the drawing of the little green man.
That is so fascinating that so many things are connected to this one case in 1955, and nobody would ever have even believed it happened, much less have things, in the 80s and today. And
Right. Yeah, I was only 3 years old when I just told my age, didn't I? I was only 3 years old when it happened. And
Well,
I
I can
didn't hear
remember.
nothing about it to years, a few years ago. I didn't think much about it. And then,
I can remember last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was that Troy and I went to the LBL and camped out for his birthday. I remember heading up there and seeing signs for Hopkinsville. I'm thinking, there's no fucking way that that's the same Hopkinsville. But yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I had no idea I was that close because I've heard that story so many times. And what I've heard over the years, there's more people to say that it really happened than not.
right.
And it's just fascinating to me that I was so close to where this historic event happened.
Yeah, like I said, my wife's got some people buried. In fact, she had some aunts and a few cousins lived up there. I think most of them are passed now, I think. But we used to go up there pretty regular, and we've been into the cemetery, and visited some of them and walked through it and seen Edgar Casey's grave, things like that. And but I never thought anything about it myself, and then here we are, and just drive 8 miles up the north of town, and you run out into Kelly, and it's
Yeah.
it's kind of it's neat. This neat little town. I want to get up there and look around a little more, but
that's why I love this whole shebang of things, because it's like Brian said, it's all connected, right? Yep. I mean, no matter what it is that we research, it all makes a circle, and it all stems from, what I mean? My curiosity, is naturally always elevated. So learning all of this stuff is just fascinating to me.
And speaking of Brian, since you brought him up real quick, shameless plug, y'all tune in this Thursday. We will be doing a live. Miss Tiffany will be there. I will be there, and Brian over on his channel. But it will be a That Bigfoot podcast show. So y'all tune in Thursday.
There you go.
That was a birthday present from my daughter. I got this little thing up there at the festival. It's a little, I guess it's done by one of these 3D printers.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the little Kelly Green Man. Of course, I wanted the actual gray one because that's what they were. They weren't green, they were gray. So I picked it up there at the festival last year.
Now, could you imagine being in that poor family's shoes, and you're seeing something like that on your property? Could you just live? And that's what I do. I try to put myself in everybody's shoes that have experienced something, and I couldn't even imagine having one of them touch me on the top of the head and then seeing that in my front yard. That would be terrifying.
Yeah, my wife had a kind of an encounter. I think it was back in the 80s. She was coming back from, my daughter was going to school in Clarksville, and they had a volleyball game that night, and she had been to the volleyball game, and she was coming back. She topped this little hill, and just happened to look over there, and there's a big saucer kind of up like at a 45, just hovering just a few feet off the ground, And since it's got the windows in the top and everything, and she watched it for a long time. We said back before the days of cell phones, and nobody ever carried a camera with them back then or anything. So she sat there and watched it for a long time. She said finally it just leveled off and went up treetop and it was gone. So, but every time we go by, she points it out. That's where I saw it right there.
The speed of these things is crazy. So what's your opinion on the drones situation? Because some of them are and the encounters given are said to be the size of small cars.
Yeah, I think it's I think they're still trying to locate that missing nuclear shipment Maybe they were
Mhm.
trying to track it. Maybe that's just a thought I've had, that maybe they're trying to track this and find this nuclear shipment, maybe. And, that's something else that somebody mentioned the other day, too, about this little green men deal. Those two little things they sent out may
Mhm.
not have been little men at all. They may have been some kind of a drone,
Mhm.
because they did say that when they shot them, the shells, when they hit them, give off a metallic ring, so
Yeah.
they were like they were hitting something metal, so it's very possible, so I hadn't even thought about it from that angle, but
Yeah. Well, there's so many directions that you could come at this with.
oh, I know. Yeah.
I mean, and it's like that with anything. I mean, any little thing, you're like, well, it could be this or it could be that, and that's why I like having discussions like that, because we can bounce ideas off of each other and say, well, what do you think about this? And it just makes it fun to get everybody's point of view.
Yeah, somebody had an encounter up the road where we used to live, several years ago, and supposedly this flying saucer landed in the field beside their house, and these little beings got out, were running up and down the highway. One of them supposedly shot a beam or something at his dog, and it left a mark on his dog, and it was there until the dog, the rest of the dog's life, was still there, And I've been trying to get a hold of this guy and to get some information from him, and he won't return my calls. He won't return my emails. I don't know if he's I don't know what's going on, but I do believe he saw something, but I don't know what, But it was weird, But I'd like to find out more about that. But people I've talked to said he's kind of weird at times. So I thought I might stay away from him. Maybe he'll contact me on the phone or email, maybe, and I won't have to have any personal contact.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's fate that's keeping you away. Maybe it's for the best.
But I believe the Suttons did see something. I don't know exactly what. All we can do is kind of theorize on what they may have seen. But I believe they seen something. They didn't make it up. I'm pretty sure they didn't. June Taylor was so terrified of this. She said when she left, she would never be back, never come back again.
Who said that?
And then after all this was over, I guess Lucky Sutton and his wife Vera, they separated, divorced, or whatever, and he came back home, So, and he actually lived in a little town called Cadiz, Kentucky, which is between Hopkinsville and LBL,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where he actually lived when he passed away, So he actually came back home before he passed away. I'd love to meet him and talk to him, but Geraldine said if you'd just seen the look on his face when he let it slip out. He was telling somebody about it and didn't know that she was listening, and then said she had him tell it to her. He said, if you just seen the look on his face and the fear in his eye, you'd know something actually happened, And I thought, I don't doubt it at all. I know something. I'm pretty sure something happened, But what it was, we don't know. If we had any kind of decent newspaper reporters and all back then, instead of just picking up everything off the AP wire, and then putting their own spin to it, we might have had a little more information,
Yeah, if they wouldn't have sensationalized it, and now they're all kinds of different colors of the rainbow instead of what they were. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a few questions. If you want to go ahead and get to those.
I will try my best.
All right. First one is not a question. Thank you, Mr. Goony Goo Goo, for the super sticker. You are the man. You are awesome. And thank you. All right, Mr. Alex. Question. Other reports say that when the police responded, that the military police responded with them. Is that accurate?
Partially. There's some reports say they did. Some say they didn't. I do know the next day they sent a sketch artist out to make sketches of what the people had seen, and after when they got through, everybody give their own different, met with him, and he did a drawing for each one of them, and all the drawings matched out exactly what they had seen, So, but yeah, I think Fort Campbell may have been there the next day, maybe, but some say they did, some say they didn't, so it's hard to tell. There's supposed to have been a report that Project Blue Book investigated it too, but I can't find anything about that either. So if they did, they, like the rest of them, they pushed it under the rug. So
okay. All right, moving on to Mr. Joe Pat. And real quick, Joe Pat, thank you very, very much for your contribution last week. I don't think I got to mention that. You are awesome, buddy. Joe Pat donated $100 last weekend, and that's awesome. Thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate you very much. But Joe Pat's question, I'm sorry, I got here late. Were their faces human or otherworldly looking? If human, are there any theories about them being from the future? That's a good question.
now there is a picture. If I can get focused, get the light on just right. There is a picture of their face right here. This is actually what they
Not very human.
It does have like a little bit of human to it, and yes, they could possibly be from the future. I mean, it's it could very well be. Like I said, I think the UFOs, the main purpose is trying to keep us from destroying ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I said otherworldly. I think UFOs are actually here from the Earth, maybe inner Earth, maybe but they don't want us to blow the Earth up because it's going to get them too. So they're going to protect it all they can.
Yeah. All right, and the last one that we got is also from Joe Pat. What was the parallel not to be crossed during Vietnam 38th?
I don't know about that. I have to do some research on that and look that up. But I think I have remembered hearing about the 38th parallel, but I don't remember what it was. I heard about it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dewey, real quick, or however long it takes, tell everybody where they can find you, anything you're working on that you want to promote, just anything you want out there.
All right, all my books I've had so far are available on Amazon. I also have a little I keep a little inventory here at the house. I go to several book signings a year, things like that, shows and things like that. And I usually keep inventory here at the house. I can do a direct shipment to your house. If you want one signed, then I can sign it and mail it to you. You can. My email address is ghosthunter911@gmail.com. It's ghosthunter911@gmail.com. And but like I said, you can send me an email. I can. I take PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. And or cash, or check if I know you want to take a check. But yeah, they're all available on Amazon too. If you want one, and then maybe if we'd ever run into each other somewhere, I can sign it for you. But I have the books I have written are Execution of Murder, which is the early murders of Robertson County, Tennessee, 1810 through 1910. And I did Something Wicked, which was about the Bell Witch. I think we touched base on the Bell Witch last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did.
I've got one that Lights Out that I'm working on now. My original Lights Out book was, I think, 72, 74 pages. I have run up on a bunch more information since then. I'm rewriting the whole book completely, and I'm over 150 pages now on it. So it's more than twice its size now what it was, with a lot more information. I did a couple of them on the Civil War, the Ridge Too Far, which was Colonel Cyrus Sugg. He got wounded at Missionary Ridge and ended up dying of blood poisoning. They shot his knee.
You say Missionary Ridge?
Yeah.
In Tennessee?
Yeah, right outside Chattanooga.
That's where I live. Yeah.
Really?
Chattanooga, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we were there several times and went down to Chickamauga
Battlefield. I've been there many times. Yeah.
Have you ever heard about the great train crash of 1863?
Train? No, I haven't.
I'll have to cover that one of these.
Are you familiar with Green Eyes?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's
Oh yeah,
my neck of the woods.
yeah.
Ristel here asking, and I wanted to ask you the same thing. Are you going to be at the Smoky Mountain Conference?
It's
Bigfoot
very
Conference?
possible. We're still debating on it.
There's a bunch of us going to be there, Dewey. If you can make it, come hang out with us. We're renting a huge cabin. It sleeps like 16 people, I think, 14, 16 people. And the night after the conference, we're doing a big cookout. Come hang out with us. We'll feed you barbecue, have some drinks. If you're going to be there, let us know. And we would love to have you come hang out with us, man.
Yeah, we're thinking very strongly. Right now, we're going to the McMinnville, to the Tennessee Wild Man. I know that one's for sure.
Well, Gatlinburg's bigger, man. You need to come to Gatlinburg.
Oh yeah. We were at Gatlinburg last year. We really enjoyed it, but it was just so doggone hot.
That's true. Yeah, we were at Gatlinburg last year. We rented a cabin there too. I wish we would have known you then.
I thought I saw you at the conference, Dewey.
We stayed at a motel. I thought it was right on the main drag, right across from the convention center, but it was on the road, on River Road down behind it, and had to walk through a parking lot and up a hill and all to get there. And
yeah,
I'm just getting too old for that.
I go to Gatlinburg 2 or 3 times a year, man.
We had VIP tickets last year. I really enjoyed it, So.
Yeah. So if you can come this year, we would love to have you come eat some barbecue or whatever we're going to cook.
That sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, we'll sit out around the campfire. It's got a campfire in the back with chairs around. It's super nice. Chris and Gary did a stellar job picking that cabin.
Yes, they did. All right, buddy. Seriously, stay in touch. Let us know if you're coming to the conference. We will set you up. We'll hook you up to come and hang out with us. But if not, oh well. We appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out. We'll share all of your stuff in the show notes. Thank you again. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. We need to come back. We need to talk about the Thomas Mantell UFO.
Absolutely. We can do that.
That's one of my best books, I think. It's one of the biggest books I'd print, almost 500 pages. So yeah.
All right, buddy.
Research into that one.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, okay?
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Good stuff as always.
And I'm so glad I survived through the whole show. Like,
you made it.
I made it. Yeah, there was a couple of pieces I had to put together because you guys would freeze out and I would just have to make up my own little story of what you said, but it all coincided, so it's fine.
All right, what we got coming up, ma'am?
Let's see, it's Tuesday. So Saturday we have, oh my gosh, and I talked to him last night. It was almost midnight. Paranormal Pursuit. We had them on 10 months ago. They have been very, very busy. So he is currently working on promoting this upcoming show that they're going to be on Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And they are just stoked. They recently investigated the Squirrel Cage jail in Iowa that housed one of the most infamous axe serial killers. So,
wow.
Yeah. And because they are, because it's Chip and Ryan and Nick and they're all family, well, they brought a special visitor with them this past time. Grandpa went on this paranormal investigation, and Grandpa ended up taking a nap in one of the cells, believe it or not.
Heck yeah.
It's on their YouTube channel, Paranormal Pursuit. You can go check it out before they come on if you want to. But they are super excited about coming on, and I just love their energy. So
yeah, I remember having them on last time. They were really cool. It was a good show. Should be fun Saturday. All right. I hope everyone can tune in Saturday. Until we talk to y'all again. Y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye.